All right, Mr. Albert Yelyang now joins me in the studio. He's National Network Coordinator for WANEP, and he joins me in the studio for a discussion on how societies can hold it together in times like this. Good afternoon to you. It's barely a week since this gory accident or the lynching of Captain Mahama happened. We've all been mourning this innocent soul. I'm sure you're traumatized as well.
Yes, thank you very much. And indeed, it's an unfortunate period that we have witnessed in the past week. Several people have been traumatized by this incident, even though a number of them also happened on the same day and before. This one is something that has hit everyone, especially because he is somebody who has given out his life to defend all of us in this country. And to be hit by the same people that he gave his life out for is very, very unfortunate, and that dastardly act should never be repeated in any life, especially in this country. I want to say that on behalf of WANEP Ghana, and I join the people of this country to extend our condolences to the family, especially the wife, the father, the mother, the children, who are very close to him and who have lost him in a time that they expected him probably to do more. Everyone wishes that his relative or her relative goes through life in a normal manner and retires honorably. But for a young person who is still full of energy with so much potential to have lost his life at this time is very, very unfortunate. And we wish him well in the next life.
This town, Dencho Boase, has been in news for so many bad reasons. I mean, tracing back to history, it has a bad history of violence. We're told that they are the only people who defeated, that they fought the Ashantis, and they were the only people who defeated the Ashantis. We know in recent times, it's not only Captain Mahama they've lynched other people, some innocent. What would you say is wrong with this community? Do they befit the description of a beast as people are tagging them?
I have heard that in view of from some commentaries, that because they killed the Osetutu, some case was pronounced on them. I think that basically they have probably experience some motivations that enable them to sustain a culture of violence, as I will like to call it, over the period. Because people do not go into such acts and sustain them if they are punished, for instance. But I think that because they have been left off the hook of all probably the incidences that have occurred, and they did not seem to be punished enough, they think that they can go away with it all the time. I think when you look at a society like that, there are various questions that you can ask. What are their engagements? What are they engaging? And for instance, the group that particularly we have seen
we're told it's a mining community.
Yes, what are their basic activities? And even the section of the people that attacked the man, the Captain Mahama, what are they engaged in? If it is a mining community, well, very often they also come with some other negative elements. For instance, they try to protect themselves, by acquiring arms, by possessing arms, and using them, of course. And they also engage in other criminal acts like use of drugs. And drugs is not only marijuana or weed or those kinds of things, but also alcohol. Excessive use of it. It changes the psyche of the people. And when they think that somebody is standing on their way, then they want to get that person out of it. Because they think that this is the only way they can survive.
Is it inferiority complex or lack of education? I
think both. One, some people try to find relevance in a community where they do not seem to have much to engage in. And another thing is that when people are not educated enough, then they are not properly engaged. Then they think that the way to go is to make themselves relevant and to try to clear off anyone on their way. So basically, these are the things. And I think also that probably, like I indicated early on, they have over the years not been punished enough, those who have engaged in those acts. And so they think that it's motivation enough, to continue to perpetrate such acts.
How do we reorient such people? Looking at a community dating back to history where they've carried on from generation to generation, how do we reorient them? It looks like a tough thing to do.
It's a process because the culture of violence is not, addressing the culture of violence is not a one-day task. It has to be over a period that generations upon generations will fiddle out, and then eventually we have a certain group of people who now begin to behave differently. And so it's a process. Education is one, and indeed, as indicated, those who have engaged in this act need to be punished and punished properly. There are various ways that can, depend on the levels of involvement in this act, that they can be punished for. And educating them and also supporting, and indeed, I think even the way this thing has gone viral, and now they themselves might be shy, and they will feel so bad that it is coming from their area, and that is their youth who have engaged in this. It's some of their women who have engaged in this. And they will begin to reorient themselves. It is self-orienting for they themselves. And even with the involvement of the leadership of that community, the traditional leaders, we just heard that they are going through some pacification. It's something that those people are not comfortable with, because even anybody getting to that area will know that this is the area that Captain Mahama was murdered, and it's not a good name. So I think that there will be several efforts, but it will be a generational kind of thing. It will go down several years down the line before we can have another group of people who will have a different culture, who will have a certain feeling for human life, who will think about common humanity, and then eschew violent acts.
How long do we have to wait to see that? A long time, very long time?
Processes, yes, it will take generations. Yes, it will take generations. We only hope that there are not incidences occurring again in the area, but in terms of the culture with the people, we need to continue to monitor, we need to continue to educate them, and let them know that this is an act, or mob actions are acts that are frowned upon in our society, because it's not worth taking any human life. Yeah.
Definitely, this will have dire implications for this community. I mean, if you put the northern region, for instance, because of the violence in that area, that is why we haven't seen much progress in the northern region. Same thing can be applied to this community. What will happen? A lot of investors will not go there. Even the military, I'm beginning to think that when they are deployed, they would have questions. So what will happen is that a lot of the goodies that may come to that society, I mean, they may be denied because of this violence.
Exactly. Any community that is engaged in violence is not attractive to investments. No investor will want to inject anything in a community that he or she is not sure of what will happen to that investment. So it is something that the community will have to bear with over the period. It will take some time. Like you indicated, efforts that would have been put in place in order to engage the communities meaningfully might be difficult. And also, if they are mainly into galamsey or mining, and then they are asked not to do so, there could have been another way out, alternative livelihood for them, but it will also be difficult. Now, generally, this incident has affected the entire community of Ghana, because in terms of security and the morale for security officers to be deployed, it will be hard. They will always ask many questions. I only hope that, and I believe that per their training, which they sometimes dedicate their own lives, they will be encouraged by this to continue to ensure that we all are protected and that our country is defended. Because if you look at it, there is a seeming culture of youth violence across the country. It is not just only that area. It is only because this one has happened in a very bad manner that we think that, but I think that incident should be the end of the number of incidences that we have recorded over the period. At least a reduction of it. Because if you look at it per our monitoring, since February 15, we have recorded about 15 of such incidences across the country. There was a woman murdered on the same day at Tindongo in the Upper East region. You probably heard about the attack of police officers, in Somanya, which made all of them, their families, to begin to run helter-skelter for their lives, and several of those, another attack in Tamale over the CEO of Edif, So there are several of them that are occurring across the country. So we need to begin to sit down again and ask several questions. And I think that we need to allow the systems that are supposed to ensure sanity in terms of our rule of law, their capacities are enhanced and that they are able to operate independently.
And for those of you who don't know much about the violent history of Denchora Obuase, let me update you. In 2015, 2 unidentified persons were lynched for alleged robbery, and in October 2016, 2 macho men were killed and burned down in the town for unknown reasons. And recently, about a week ago, we also know that Captain Mahama was also brutally lynched. And we also know that in from 2004 to 2007, a serious conflict led to the beheading of their queen mother. 50 people were killed in that incident, and Chief Palace was burned down. In 2009, they lynched 3 people alleged to be robbers. In 2010, teachers at Denchora Obuase RC Primary were assaulted by some community members. And in 2013, 40 Chinese galamseyers and 17 Ghanaian galamseyers were also killed. And so it looks like it's not the first time. It's been a habit which has been cultivated over the years, and probably it's becoming difficult to stop. This looks like it's been passed on from generation to generation.
Yeah.
But let's look at mob justice, which people say it must now be tagged mob injustice. What could be accounting for this? Because you rightly said that it's not only in Denchora Obuase, but we've seen some of these things in other regions.
Like I indicated, in some of those areas where there is that culture of violence, any person that is seen not to be participating in violent acts is considered a pacifist. The person is a weakling. And so you are not praised if you are not engaged in such acts, and especially for people who are full of emotion and exuberance. I think that over the period, like I indicated, we have pampered people engaging in such acts, and that is unfortunate because of their perceived lack of confidence in the institutions that we think should ensure justice for everyone. They tend to take the law into their own hands. It does not give, if the law or the institutions are not effective, it does not give any reason for anyone to engage in mob justice. And of course, that's injustice, because the law says that people should be tried. And until they are proven guilty, they are not guilty. And so why should anyone take another person's life instantly and not giving the person opportunity to explain himself or herself? For instance, if you look at Captain, apparently per police report, he made several attempts to explain who he was and probably what he was there for. And he was not given that opportunity. Instantly, he was treated the way he was treated. And that is not justice for anybody.
Let me have you hold and speak with my colleague Latif Idris, who is at the Ajabin court where the arrested suspects have been taken to. Good afternoon to you, Latif. Bring us up to speed as to what is happening at the Ajabin court.
Yeah, Aisha, we are here at the Accra Central District Court, where just about 3 minutes ago, we had the police bringing in 24 suspects who were picked in connection with the murder of late Captain Adam Maxwell Mahama. Just a little while ago, so we had the 10 others. So in all, we have 24 of the suspects here at the Accra Central District Court. We have, CID operatives who are here in their numbers guarding the vehicle that brought these guys in, and we are, as of now, awaiting to see whether or not there will be any hearing in connection with these 34 suspects here today, Aisha.
Do you see signs of resentment in the faces of these suspects?
Yeah, with the last batch that arrived here were the 10. And in the 10, you know, on social media, we had a picture of this woman who people speculated was lighting a matches to set the late captain ablaze. She was at the back of the pickup truck, and you could see from the face of this woman that she had regretted exactly what she did on that very fateful day. Together with her, there were other 9 suspects who were also somewhere in the bucket of the pickup. Others were in the front and the back seat of the pickup as well. So the 34 suspects are well here represented, awaiting the beginning of the trial. But I've also picked information that the docket for this whole hearing is in the office of the Chief Justice. And so it's been worked on, and once it gets here, then the hearing of the case, would kickstart, Aisha.
All right, many thanks to you, Latif Idris. We'll be looking forward to some more updates in our subsequent bulletins. And you heard that 34 suspects have been arraigned before they are being caught. But this brings us to the concerns by the public that they do not have much confidence in the police. And indeed, I have seen some military men talk about the fact that the issue should be handed over to the military to do justice to it because they feel the police may be slow in handling this matter.
Yes, I think that the level of confidence, as we hear over the period, for the institutions that, for instance, the police, is something that requires a lot of debate. It depends on the individual experiences. And again, if you check, the Ghana Police Service is seen to be one of the institutions that has capacity to do the work that it is mandated to do. The military, yes, they also have a military unit, a police unit, the military police, but then we need to look at what are the various mandates and what are they expected to do. And again, if the military are allowed to do it that way, what is the level of interest they would have in the case? Obviously, you see that they are so passionate about it because it's one of their own who has gotten involved in this incident. And so there will be times the emotions will be, over what is expected. And I think that, yes, let's allow the institution with that sole responsibility to do the work that it is expected in the case of this Captain Mahama. But several checks, oversight could be on this so that we continue to monitor and we want to see the outcome of this. And that people are seen to be punished and that the law is operating. It should not be a time that we have seen and observed certain things that we expected certain responses from these same institutions and it did not work. And one could begin to now think that, well, then totally we have lost it. But it is an opportunity that we have to seize and ensure that the security agencies, the police, is seen to be the institution with that capacity and mandate to ensure that all of us are protected.
Looking at the high interest this incident has generated, the death of the captain has generated, does the police have what it takes to deal with this matter?
I think the police have the capacity. We only need to enhance that capacity.
Do you trust they will do a good job?
Yes, I trust they will do a good job because everyone's eye is on this case. Everyone's eye is on this case. And if they are seen not to be doing a good job, then I cannot imagine the reactions from the population. I cannot imagine it. So I think they will do a good job.
But interestingly, I've heard a lot of people, of course, because of the emotions attached to this, there are people who feel that these culprits, if found guilty, should be hanged to death. They should be made to face firing squad. And of course, I know emotions are coming to play here. For you, what could be the right punishment that could console us as a wounded country?
Yes, I think that generally there is that debate for Ghana to take out or review some of its laws in terms of murder, and acts that will require hanging or whatever. But generally, I think that I may want to go with that discussion, that if people are found to be guilty of acts that they are supposed to be killed, there could be another way out, that they could serve a life sentence, and that would take them the entire life, maybe with hard labor. What is our motive for killing somebody? I think it may eventually be the same thing. To kill another person because he or she has killed might not be that prudent for all of us, but that the person is seen to be laboring and suffering for the crimes and offenses that he or she committed. And I think the life sentence or other, but the law knows best in situations like this. But the punishment should be punitive enough and merit the acts committed by the various persons involved in this.
So, if you look at all these happening, and the police has assured us that they will do their job, and people who also feel that, yeah, the military may say yes, but they will still retaliate. And because one interesting thing I hear people say is that, no, the military, they are tit for tat people. They will not accept this kind of police investigating, and so they'll be at the back. What do you think? I have the feeling that they should still remain calm, and I know the military hierarchy has been working with them, trying to ensure that they do not undertake any reprisal act, because that will also lead to similar incidences, because innocent ones might receive their brunt, and that will not be good for all of us. The police is doing its work. Let us wait until the end of it and we see the outcome. And I have the confidence that in view of the magnitude of this incident, the police will do its work prudently, and the law will take its course. How do we nib mob justice in general in the bad?
I think that first of all, the law should be seen to be working. Then we should also educate people that if you take the law into your own hands and kill another person, then this is the punishment for you. You will not go scot-free. Then society, where those communities where we have this occurring frequently, and indeed the entire country, there has to be education, and that's where the media also comes in, civil society comes in, the religious institutions come in, that we all try as much as possible to spread that gospel, that awareness, that these are the various kind of punishments that may meet you, or that you may receive should you engage in instant justice. And society generally should frown upon such acts, that where a young man or woman is seen to be engaged in violence, then the person is praised. We should begin to frown upon it. And I think generally and eventually we will have a way out on this. All right.
Many thanks to you, Albert Yelyang. Albert Yelyang is with ONEP, and he's been making his point clear. He says that he trusts the police to do a good job, and he's also saying that for us to nip mob justice in the bad, we need to allow the laws to bite hard. And he calls for education, and he says the media must participate, religious leaders, opinion leaders, all stakeholders must be part of this education. Bottom line, it is a collective responsibility. That is what he says. Thanks so much for passing through. Now, pacification by the chiefs in the Diaso Boase we saw today, and they are saying they're very sorry to the late captain. They are asking for his spirit to make all those culprits turn in themselves, to hand themselves to the police. And they're also saying that never again will this happen in Diaso or Boase. Let's cross over to the community and see what really happened there. General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, John Boydo, has been sympathizing with the family of the late Captain Adam Mahama, and he wants the issue to be dealt with without politicization.
You all know the country is still mourning the death of Captain Maxwell Adam Mahama, and as such, we wish to once again express our condolences to the bereaved family. I would also like to take this opportunity to announce that government will today take a decision and announce the plans that the state has for the late captain and his family. Having taken a serious view of all that has happened regarding this unfortunate incident, we mourn with the family, and we will never, I repeat, never play politics with the death of such an innocent soul. We hope that other political parties will also refrain from playing politics with the painful death of a fellow citizen.
This is the Pulse.